Hello and welcome to ACI Specialty Benefits Stress Management Webinar. My name is Jessica Robinson and I'm a clinical specialist with ACI. A common complaint clinicians hear is that there's just not enough of me, time, or money to meet the responsibilities of my day, and it feels like I am running on empty. Does this ring a bell? Today we will be focusing on how to stay healthy and balanced working in the healthcare field. This webinar contains useful information about stress management and is tailored to meet the needs of caregivers and healthcare workers in regard to compassion fatigue, job stress, and burnout. Let's go over the learning objectives. Since we can't eliminate stress, the goal of this presentation is to educate you about how stress affects everyone and prepare you to manage stress more effectively. Today we will define the concept of stress, define types of stress, identify common causes of compassion fatigue, identify the differences between compassion fatigue and burnout, identify attitudes that increase stress and compassion fatigue, learn healthy coping skills to manage stress, and review relaxation techniques for stress management. Let's take a basic look at the physiology of stress. Stress affects the body in three main areas: the muscular, glandular, and autonomic systems. Stress is the body's attempt to cope with perceived danger, change, boredom, frustration, anger, fear, and many more variables. We unconsciously or consciously fear multiple losses. This may be a specific fear such as losing your job, a love interest, or a sense of a secure home. Additionally, we may encounter a single event that feels like it will push us over the edge of our ability to cope and begin a negative spiral downward. On a physical level, the body responds to fears by tensing its muscles. Our digestive system may become interrupted and we may breathe more shallowly. Emotionally or psychologically, we either internalize or externalize our feelings. Therefore, we can become withdrawn, isolative, depressed, or anxious, angry, and overly emotional. External stress. Everything that happens to us has the potential to be a stressor. Some common external causes of chronic stress include time pressures, responsibilities, personal problems, work, lack of sleep, bottled up emotions, and finances. How familiar does this following scenario sound to you? You wake up tired and slow, playing with the snooze button, awaiting the last possible minute to get out of bed. Then you leave late out the door and get stuck in traffic arriving to work, just a little late to find the previous shift left a few things undone. This means you'll be starting behind again. You swear under your breath and look for someone to blame, but you swallow your anger because you have the regular bills to pay, you received an unexpected traffic ticket which you don't have the money for, so you start your workday hoping somehow you'll make it through another day. Internal stress. How we process events and internalize what happens to us can lead to stress. Some attitudes that can lead to stress include worrying about situations we can't control, failure to see choices, unrealistic expectations, being too self-critical, discounting the positive feedback, expecting a neat and easy solution, an all or nothing attitude or black and white thinking, and magnifying problems. The emotional and physical demands involved with caregiving can strain even the most capable person. Too much stress, especially over a long time, can harm your health. As a caregiver, you are more likely to experience symptoms of depression and anxiety. Because of the extra strain of healthcare work, you may cut corners on taking care of yourself. You may not eat a healthy diet or get exercise, both of which can increase your risk of medical issues, including heart disease and diabetes. You all remember the saying, if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of anyone else. So take advantage of available help and support. Doing so is a sign of strength. Stress, a fact of life. Without a certain amount of stress, there is no quality of life. The central concept for managing stress is maintaining a deliberate and constant focus on your quality of life. This requires awareness and thoughtfulness. The more aware we become of how stress impacts us individually, we are better able to handle that stress in a healthy way. Stress can be harmful if ignored and left unattended as it accumulates. The positive aspect of stress is that it can be constructive. It can motivate us to change, act, solve problems, and pay attention to the quality of our lives. Stress is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We do not have to allow our body, mind, or emotions to be damaged by stress. By being aware, we discover that we have a choice in how we will let stress impact our lives. Compassion fatigue. Now let's discuss compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue has emerged in the past 20 years as a new concept related to how caregivers, particularly professional helpers, are impacted by the work they do. Compassion fatigue can be defined as professional work that is centered on the relief of emotionally suffering of clients automatically includes absorbing information that is about suffering. Often it includes that suffering as well. Charles Figley, 1995. Compassion fatigue is becoming a popular topic of discussion in the helping professions. It is now commonplace, although often confused with job stress or burnout. There are specific vulnerabilities that lead to compassion fatigue. One factor of compassion fatigue is exposure, the daily barrage of traumatic or stressful material. Another factor is empathy. The greater the empathy, the more effective the relationship, and the greater the risk for compassion fatigue. Other contributing factors can include the caregiver's emotional state, limited coping skills, poor self-care, lack of positive support, and disconnection with spirituality or meaningful activities. Therefore, the amount the caregiver is exposed to trauma and stress, the quality of their relationship with those they are assisting, and individual factors are vulnerabilities that increase the risk of compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is related to but different than job stress. Job stress results when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, or needs of the employee, whereas the indicators of compassion fatigue are evidenced in one's emotional, physical, personal, spiritual, and work life. Emotional indicators of compassion fatigue include anxiety, increased negativity, numbness, lowered frustration tolerance, irritability, grief symptoms, anger, sadness, and depression. Physical indicators can include intrusive thoughts or images, headaches, GI symptoms, insomnia, nightmares, sleep disruptions, decreased immune response, and becoming more accident-prone. Personal indicators are negative self-talk, decrease in sense of safety, isolation, difficulty separating work life from personal life, increases in self-destructiveness, and ineffective self-soothing behaviors. Spiritual indicators include questioning the meaning of life, questioning prior religious beliefs, increased skepticism, and loss of hope. And work indicators can include avoidance of certain patients or clients, hypervigilant response to certain cases, diminished sense of purpose or enjoyment, and feelings of therapeutic impotence. Negative coping skills. Some people do not even realize that they are overstressed. Instead of dealing with the stress, they develop negative coping skills to protect themselves or avoid dealing with the stress. Some negative coping skills include anger and blame, derogatory comments to and about others, withdrawing from others, unhealthy diet, an irregular schedule, not eating, binging, or eating low-quality foods, excessive caffeine or tobacco use, inappropriate humor, and risky behaviors. These can include substance abuse and misuse, reckless driving, and impulsiveness. Some of these behaviors are harmful to ourselves and some are harmful to others. It is important for us to handle our stress so that we behave appropriately to create a respectful working environment. Stress management coping skills. Now that we've discussed negative coping skills, let's focus on positive stress management coping skills. Just for today, let's make a commitment to add only one new technique to our repertoire of managing stress. No, you don't have to hit the Stairmaster for 30 minutes. Let's talk about some easier ways. How about starting with taking a break? Skip the second coffee and go outside for a breath of fresh air. Get away from your workstation and call a tranquil friend. Hear their voice on the machine and leave a message. If you eat under stress, eat right. Skip the donuts and grab the power bar. Substitute juice for coffee. Go up and down a flight of stairs or take a 5-minute walk. Put a colored pushpin up on your wall and focus on it when you encounter a difficult client or tough deadline. Let it remind you of breathing and relaxing those tight muscles. Keep water at your desk. This dilutes those shots of adrenaline and other secretions that create a happy home for ulcers and other stress-related ailments. Reduce sugar dependence, especially for a lift. Reach for a well-balanced snack instead. Stretch more. Do you have ergonomic reminders on your computer? Observe them. Additionally, refute irrational beliefs. Practice positive self-talk. Limit your commitments. Learn to relax. Use exercise to release stress. Learn time management. Don't magnify events and focus on what you can control. More coping skills to manage stress include: accept what you can't control. Set realistic expectations for yourself and others. You and others will make mistakes. Look at your choices and weigh your options before making any big decisions. You may replay certain scenarios and experience feelings of blame or guilt. Before you accept all of the criticism, focus on what you did well and how you handled the situation. Remember that you can't change the past. Review the lessons you have learned. Instead of denying praise, accept positive feedback from others. List the good things going on and your personal strengths. This doesn't mean things are perfect. It does mean that it is not all terrible. Take care of yourself. When under stress, it is easy to forget to take care of ourselves. There may be so many things on our mind that proper care and nutrition of our body may seem impossible. Although it may be difficult to make the time, when under stress, our body needs more care and attention. By eating healthy, getting rest, and exercising when possible, we are in better condition to deal with the stressors around us in a healthy way. Therefore, take a moment to look over this chart to monitor your self-care. Take an inventory of your professional self-care practice. Self-care is one of the most important aspects of managing stress. Taking an inventory of your professional self-care practice is a good start. Maintain appropriate boundaries and practice limit setting. If you catch yourself overworking, try to identify your motivation and see how you can better stick to your schedule and use time management wisely. Ask yourself, do you take regular vacations and time off when you are sick? If not, you may be burning the candle at both ends or running yourself down unnecessarily. Remember that your own health is first and foremost. Do you have adequate support and help at work? If not, ask for assistance if needed and talk with your supervisor about your needs. Determine what aspects of work and/or which clients you spend time obsessing about. Try to understand what the real issue is and how you can create a more balanced point of view. Celebrate your successes. Pat yourself on the back for your accomplishments and feel good about it. Learn to separate yourself from your work. Your work is only one part of your identity. A healthy individual is someone who puts time into the many different parts of their life. Remember, rule number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, when managed well, it's all small stuff. Too little stress makes for a boring, frustrating, unproductive experience. Too much stress can leave us overwhelmed, irritable, exhausted, and sometimes sick. Just enough stress helps us feel happy, productive, and motivated. The secret to successful stress management is not a secret. It really is living in the moment with consciousness and thoughtfulness. It is taking happiness now, using simple techniques, whether the ones we have talked about or those you have developed on your own. Develop a positive attitude to taking control of your body's response to stress. You have the power to change and control. Once you take responsibility of yourself, when you choose the positive aspects of stress over the negative and recognize your motivation for change, you will set in motion a cycle of success in your work, your family, your relationships, and in yourself. This concludes the webinar on stress management. Please remember to contact ACI for more information at any time. You can reach us toll-free at 1-800-932-0034 or email us at eapinfo@acieap.com. There are many benefits of the EAP. We're here to help with stress management as well as many other issues. This is a confidential service available to you and all family members. Don't hesitate to call us. Thank you again for using ACI Specialty Benefits, your employee assistance program.